In the early 1950s, a man named Knack applies for a job as a ship's health officer. He admits to the captain that he is not a doctor, but his confidence is persuasive. Despite having no qualifications, he is hired for the position. The ship sets sail, and Knack settles into his new role. While studying a medical book, he is called to his first case. A mechanic in the engine room has fallen ill with a fever and tremors. The patient reveals a rash, and Knack recognizes the symptoms from his book. He confidently diagnoses it as typhus, much to the patient's surprise. Knack recites the entire treatment plan from memory, impressing the patient. He assures the patient he will be cured in 3 weeks. The captain is worried about panic among the passengers. Knack assures him he has the situation under control. Later, Knack spots a wealthy woman on deck and sees an opportunity. He flatters her, pretending to be a doctor concerned for her skin. He presents her with a special cream made from a rare Japanese flower. He invents a fantastic story about its origins to increase its value. The woman is amazed by the cream's supposed effects. Knack sells her the complete treatment for an exorbitant price. Meanwhile, the mechanic with typhus is recovering well under Knack's care. The patient is grateful and impressed with Knack's skills. Knack tells him he plans to go to medical school. 5 years later, the story continues. Now a licensed doctor, Knack arrives in the small town of St. Maurice to take over a practice. He is greeted by the retiring physician, Dr. Parpelade. Dr. Parpelade gives Knack a tour of the picturesque town. He shows Knack his new home and office, which is modest but cozy. Knack asks about the local ailments, such as rheumatism. Parpelade warns him that the townspeople are exceptionally healthy and rarely seek medical help. He explains that there is no regular clientele to rely on. Knack mentions his own long history of practicing medicine. He confesses to Parpelade that he practiced illegally before getting his degree. After settling in, Knack learns the town has a wealthy but frugal population. Parpelade's wife believes Knack will fail in such a healthy town. Knack meets the local postman and sees him as a key to his new strategy. He learns that Dr. Parpelade was too gentle, often prescribing simple tea. Knack devises a plan. He will offer free consultations every Tuesday. He asks the postman to read his announcement aloud as he delivers the mail. As a reward, he offers the postman the very first free consultation. Knack understands the postman is a social connector, vital to spreading his message. Next, Knack visits the town pharmacist, Monsieur Mousquet. Mousquet complains that his business is failing because no one buys medicine. He laments that Dr. Parpelade was a charlatan who never prescribed anything. Knack shares his core philosophy: people are not healthy, just sick with unknown illnesses. He assures the pharmacist that they will soon have more patients than they can handle. The postman begins spreading the news of the free consultations. At the local bar, the priest, Père Lupus, expresses his deep suspicion of Knack. He finds it strange that Knack hasn't paid him or the mayor a formal visit. On the first Tuesday, Knack's waiting room is empty. A young woman, Adele, arrives to deliver a letter. She works at the largest farm in the region, and Knack is immediately intrigued by her. The postman arrives for his promised consultation, ready to discuss his social links. He complains of a small, occasional pain in his side. Knack uses the power of suggestion, pressing on a spot until the postman feels pain. He confirms the man's vague symptom is a real, specific ailment. He gives the postman a series of dramatic instructions, telling him to stop working and stay in bed. Knack then visits the local school to speak with the headmaster. He proposes a partnership for sanitary education and disease prevention. He unveils a series of graphic posters about typhoid fever to show the children. The headmaster is horrified by the gruesome images and refuses the idea. During another free clinic day, a woman named Madame La Coquille comes in. She insists she has no pain and is only there because the consultation is free. After a brief examination, Knack deduces that she fell down the stairs as a child. He vividly describes the supposed accident, convincing her it must have happened. She is amazed by his diagnostic powers and becomes a believer. The priest arrives, intending to confront the doctor. Knack immediately notices the priest's red eye and puts him on the defensive. He lists a terrifying number of possible diseases that could cause the symptom. He quickly writes a complex prescription, overwhelming the priest with medical jargon. Madame La Coquille, now a devoted patient, follows Knack's orders to the letter. The postman returns for a follow-up, feeling much better. He boasts about his intellect, which he feels Knack recognized. Knack's reputation soars, and the townspeople are captivated by him. A wealthy widow, Madame Remy, takes a personal interest in the new doctor. She brings him a picnic basket and invites him to a dinner party hosted by the mayor. At the school, Knack gives a lecture on health and hygiene. He calls a young boy named Didier to the front as a demonstration. He explains how the tongue can indicate numerous diseases, from scarlet fever to typhoid. After a dramatic pause, he tells the boy he simply needs to brush his teeth more often. The priest, increasingly jealous, calls Knack a wolf in sheep's clothing. He asks Madame Remy to investigate Knack's past and uncover his secrets. Knack visits the farm where Adele works. He finds Adele's employer, the formidable Madame Cuck, in bed. He diagnoses her with a vague ailment and warns that treatment will be long and expensive. She readily agrees to the 3,000 franc fee, which he quickly raises to 4,000. To prove she isn't as sick as he claims, she performs exercises, which only confirms his diagnosis. Knack's business is thriving. He meets with the pharmacist to review their success. He unveils his tiered subscription plans, based on a family's income. His goal is to give everyone a therapeutic identity, making medicine a central part of their lives. Madame Remy visits Knack for her insomnia. He invents a terrifying condition involving a giant caterpillar eating her brain. He assures her it's curable with his rigorous and frequent visits. She attempts to seduce him, but he maintains his professional demeanor. A rough-looking man named Lansky arrives in town and confronts the priest. He threatens the priest, demanding food and shelter for the night. Adele finds Knack, distraught because her dog, Tom, is sick and will be put down. Knack quickly diagnoses a dislocated paw and resets it, saving the dog's life. Adele is overjoyed and deeply grateful. Later, Knack and Adele share a desire to dance together. With no music playing, he suggests the sounds of the night can be their orchestra. They share a romantic, silent dance under the stars. Lansky confronts Knack, revealing they know each other from a criminal past. He tries to blackmail Knack for 50,000 francs. Knack visits Madame Cuck and finds Adele is sick in bed. He is concerned when he learns she has had a fever for 4 days. He examines her and hears a troubling cough, suspecting something serious. He tells her she needs to go to a hospital for x-rays. Adele fears she has tuberculosis, but Knack reassures her. He secretly arranges for her to be admitted to a top clinic, promising to cover all costs. He insists to the other doctor that Adele must never know the true severity of her illness. Knack gives Lansky the blackmail money, telling him to leave town. The priest, armed with gossip, accuses Knack of impropriety with his female patients. However, the mayor dismisses the claims, revealing Adele is in a sanatorium. Lansky returns, having gambled away the money, and collapses in pain. Desperate, he begs Knack, the doctor, to save him. Knack agrees to help, but only if Lansky signs a full confession of his life of crime. With no other choice, Lansky signs the document. Dr. Parpelade returns to town and is shocked by the transformation. The town is a hub of medical activity, and the pharmacist is now wealthy. Knack proudly shows Parpelade how the entire valley is now under his medical care. Knack reads a hopeful letter from Adele, who feels she is getting better. Inspired by her letter, he decides to have his new clinic painted blue. But he receives devastating news: Adele has passed away from a sudden complication. At Adele's funeral, the entire town gathers to mourn. The priest uses his eulogy to publicly denounce Knack. He reveals Knack's past association with the criminal, Lansky. Lansky confirms the accusations, calling Knack a gambler and a charlatan. Knack steps forward and admits to his difficult past. He defends his work in the town, asking if he has not helped them. He declares his shame for the priest and his lack of compassion. The townspeople rally behind Knack, choosing him over the priest. They proclaim that whether he is a real doctor or not, he is the one they want. As Knack prepares to leave, the postman delivers a final letter from Adele. The townspeople gather, begging him not to take their happiness away. The mayor tells him that thanks to him, they finally feel important. Knack reads Adele's letter, in which she asks him to promise to try and be happy. He remembers his promise to her, looking out at the town he has built. If you want a recap of your favorite movies and shows, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. See you next time, everyone.